Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, good morning. I am David Allen. Thank you for joining us on the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review this morning. If you would like, you can call me Super Dave 817. I appreciate everybody in the chat for joining us today. We are talking about the Televiper and the Trouble Bubble. Today, an awesome vehicle with an awesome figure. It is going to be a really fun one. I look forward to that. It's been something I've been waiting for to get to for a while, to get to some of these vehicles. And you can see, obviously, I got my Strikers in, and they are huge. All right, so let's first get to the Trouble Bubble. The Televiper, I should say, not the Trouble Bubble. Televiper. So the Televiper was released in 1984, a little bit earlier than a lot of the counterparts of that period, because he really fit in with the 85 and 86 crowd. So there's your Televiper a little bit there, and a whole bunch of different ideations down there on him, and different sketches by Ron Rudat and the people that worked on G.I. Joe at the time. But it basically looks like what we expect from the Televiper. Let's see. Alternate names in A, year release 1985, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat designed most G.I. Joe figures and characters from 82 to 87, with the exception of just a handful that he didn't design. And he did most of the vehicle drivers as well. So some of these color ideations are really cool. Some of these red and orange ones over here are really look interesting. This all purple one with the white looks kind of interesting there. Some of these look really neat, actually, to be honest with you. So let's see what they had to say about that. The duty of a Televiper was to assist Cobra troops in the field to find potentially hidden targets and alarm them whenever the Joes were aware of their position. They were in charge of not only informing the troops on the ground, but in charge of relaying information to Cobra Commander and his staff. So they were fairly important, the Televipers. So that's kind of cool. So let's look at the Televipers vintage package first. Let's see. There's your Televiper, vintage package Televiper there. There. And then just happens that there's something else that's in this issue. That was the first one was Creating the History of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero by Dan Klingsmith. And this is the Collecting the Art of G.I. Joe by R. Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. So then they have the Trouble Bubble in there, and look who's driving the Trouble Bubble. It looks like a Televiper on that, doesn't it? Yeah. So that's interesting that they put the Televiper with the Trouble Bubble. So I found that interesting that they were planning ahead for stuff like that, and they did both of those. And then the Televiper gets his first appearance in issue 40, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I was looking for the first appearance of the Trouble Bubbles, but I could not find it. But I do know that the Trouble Bubbles and Televipers got their first appearances in I believe it was the Pyramids of Darkness. Both of those appeared not the Pyramids of Darkness is where the Trouble Bubble and the Televiper first appear. Um, Good morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining us in the chat today. Hello. So yeah, the Pyramid of Darkness, Trouble Bubble, and the Televiper both appeared in that. So then we're gonna get to the vintage Televiper. I have most of his gear and stuff like that. I don't think I have everything, but I have most of it. Let's see. So there's your vintage Televiper. Looks pretty good. Very tight, very strong looking figure. No paint wear or paint chips or anything on him. Looks pretty interesting. I like that color deco. For some odd reason, I like purple in a lot of my stuff. I don't know why it is that I like purple, but I'm just a fan of purple. And then we have all of his accessories, his backpack, his little sound gun or whatever that is. So we'll put those on him there. Then this little tube that hooks to the bottom of his gun. I think maybe. Yeah, that doesn't want to go in there very well. I don't know. Oh, it goes to the bottom of the handle. That's where it goes. Oops, I was putting it in the wrong place. Silly me. And then this goes to the bottom of his backpack. There. So now we have the Televiper with all of his equipment on him there. And he's pretty solid, very strong, sturdy figure. Put him there. So then we couldn't go over the Televiper without going over the vintage Trouble Bubble. Here's your vintage Trouble Bubble. And I have that big grenade inside there, holding that in there. And so I always was a fan of Trouble Bubbles. I like little pod type stuff, vehicles that were like little pods and things like that. And Trouble Bubble was one of those things that I liked a lot. And anything that was like a little pod, a little bitty vehicle that I could stick a figure in, I could afford to get when I was a teenager in the 80s. I loved. So anything like this type of thing is something I ate up. I didn't get into much of the big vehicles because I couldn't afford them. Even though they were a lot cheaper back in the 80s than they are now, it was still, $10, $16, or whatever. That was a lot of money back in the day. G.I. Joes, if you really go back and look, I could get 2 G.I. Joes for $3. They were $1.50, buy one, get one for $3. And they were pretty cheap back then. Most G.I. Joes were like $1.99 or $2 or whatever. They're nothing compared to what they are today. Most of the Joe's classified figures are coming up on $25.99 and stuff like that. I don't know if they're going to be higher in the future, but yeah, they're getting high now. So as a kid, it was a lot better to buy smaller vehicles and smaller toys and stuff like that to go with the figures, because Hasbro, they kind of miscalculated. This was supposed to be a vehicle line, right? But people really fell in love with the figures, and so they ended up steering the ship towards figures more and doing less vehicles. Even though they did some massive vehicles, don't get me wrong, there's some massive vehicles. It turned into a figure line because that's what people were buying more of, and you could do more with them than you could, say, the USS Flag or the G.I. Joe headquarters or the Defiant or the Mobile Command Center or the Terradrome. All that stuff was just so huge that it was very difficult for kids to get and play with those and put them in the house and stuff like that. So things like the Trouble Bubble things like the Vamp, the Striker, small little vehicles like that, the Fang, even stuff that's a lot more mobile, like maybe the Sky Striker or the Rattler, that were a lot more playable, were a lot more popular with kids of my generation. And I know there are other vehicles in other parts of the original O-ring period that people loved as well. Uh, so, so there's your Trouble Bubble, there's your Televiper, and now we're gonna get into this. Whew, boy, is this big! This is way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. So first, we're gonna go into the designations. Let's see. The designations for the Trouble Bubble and the Televiper are as such. Let's see. We'll put that there for now. Whoops, I knocked my Televiper over. I'll put him over there instead. Maybe I'll put the Trouble Bubble there, and then he can like lean on it since we're doing both. There. Trouble Bubble with the Televiper. All right. So the designations for this are, we have, there's a lock. Let's see what the lock, if we have. We have the telecommunications device. We have that. What else? We have the, we have the electrical engineering. We have the cryptography. And then we have, I'm not sure what that one is. Oh, that's the sound tower. The communications. So there you go. Those are all your designations for the Televiper and Flight Pod. All right. So let's look at some of the artwork on this package. Michael Gene Fleming, thank you for joining us. Good morning. Clement, thank you for joining us this morning. Hello. So there's that beautiful piece of artwork on the side. This is number 79. Really, really nice. Then we have the Target artwork there and the QR code to nowhere. And then we have this cross cell on the front that has the Trouble Bubble and the Televiper with all the accessories and weapons. And then it points out a few cool things like all these tampos and computer effects and stuff that are on the vehicle and the figure there. So he comes with two different heads. He's got his backpack, his wire, his gun, so all the same equipment that he had. And then it has the big bomb, and it has a removable panel and some missiles, just like this one. This one has the bomb and the removable missiles, so it's all pretty much identical to the vintage, very vintage accurate. So then we're going to go around to the front, and then we have this beautiful photography by Shooting the Galaxy Matt, and then we have that paint piece of art on the side and a cross cell of all of his equipment again. So let's see if there's anything in the background of this piece of art. There's a bunch of Trouble Bubbles, but that's about all there is. I don't see anything else in there. No. So what do you guys say? Let's get into this Trouble Bubble. All right. So again, we started with Snake Eyes 00. We've gone up all the way to 79. We've also done the complete series of original vintage package figures from Walmart, exclusively through Walmart, and we've done some odds and ends here and there of some other things. So like the Fortnite Snake Eyes, the running variants, and stuff like that. So we are now up to 79, number 79 with the Trouble Bubble and Televiper. All right, so we're going to put that down there. We got a huge weapons crate. Look at this weapons crate. Number 79, Cobra, Televiper, and Cobra Flight Pod Trouble Bubble. There you go. So we'll put that there for now. And then we have the figure and the bulk of the Trouble Bubble with the Televiper right there. So we're going to open that up, get that out of there. Let's see. I guess we'll start with the figure. So yeah, this is a really fun one. I like these type of things. Now we're going to really be getting into a lot of vehicles and a lot of play sets and a lot of extra stuff, equipment and stuff like that as we go forward. And we've had a few different things prior to this. We had the Ram and the Ram Tiger Force, and then we had the Coil Cycle with the Baroness. We had Serpentor with his chariot, and now we have the Trouble Bubble. And we're going to be getting into a lot more of this stuff going forward. So it's going to be a lot more fun stuff coming up as we go. So keep an eye out for the all the socials and stuff like that as we go along if you want to see more of this stuff. All right, so here's your Televiper. Now, as with most of the new classified variations of these figures, they're muted. The colors are muted. So, although looking at this Televiper and looking at this Televiper, it's not that bad. It's maybe the blue's a little bit more turquoise in the vintage, and this one's a little bit more navy blue, like the scrap iron blue, and the purple looks pretty close. I would say color scheme wise, it looks pretty close. So they did a pretty decent job with it. How can you win one? How can you win one, Clement? Unfortunately, there's not. We're not giving any away. I'm sorry. So let's see. So he has the normal helmet there, based on the vintage one, pretty much the same exact thing. The difference is there's more color deco there. There's definitely more has black on all the radio equipment, has a little bit of purple on the interior, like you would put that on and it would be soft on the inside of that helmet there. And then he has that cool grimace. Look at that grimace he's got there with those teeth grinning and stuff like that. And then there's that red Cobra Tampo that they showed on the package. There's a lot of detail on this where it shows different padding, different weapons and equipment on that secondary there, and on the back as well with the padding and stuff. And then he has this belt secondary that has a lot of pouches and different equipment and stuff, secondaries as well. And it looks really cool. They really are going to town on all the details on this, and you can see all the like pockets and everything in the pants. It looks really, really good with the detailing and stuff like that. I've got to say. So then he's got this cool gauntlet, this computer gauntlet on the side of his arm there with some details, some tampos, computer detailing and stuff like that. That looks really cool. So he would do some readouts on there and contact Cobra and stuff like that. And they classified this up a little bit. He's also got that watch. I think it's the same watch that Chuckles has, but they painted it black and purple and blue instead. He's got these pouches on his arms. I don't remember any other figure having those arms with the pouches there. So that might be a new thing. And then he's got these boots remind me of Big Ben's boots, kind of. They're similar to Big Ben's boots, but I do like the breaks in the colors. I like the deco of everything. As far as his articulation, it looks like he's got the normal head rocker articulation. He's got the butterflied shoulders. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees. He's got the crotch and leg articulation there. It looks like he's got the ab crunch, but the secondary is in the way of the ab crunch there. He's got the the wrist articulation. He's got a different articulation point because his wrist kind of twists. So that's something new. I'm not sure where you can get one in Cape Town, Clement. You might have to try to get one, maybe Pulse. I've seen these. They've been going up on clearance on Amazon and a bunch of places, so they're not that difficult to find if you want to try to get one. So there's these little doodads on the wrist, but it also twists. So not only does it do this, it goes up and down the hand articulation. So that's a new articulation point to give a little bit more mobility in the hand, I'm supposed. So when you're holding different equipment, he's also got the thigh and he's got the calf articulation on both legs and arms. He's got the second ankle. No, maybe a little bit of the foot rocker. My ankles, secondary ankles, are not moving. Yeah, there they are. There's one. There, it's a little stuck. The ankle articulation, the secondary ankle articulation. But it's all right. It'll be fine. So I'm gonna stick him over here out of the way just for a minute till I can get the trouble, the body of the trouble bubble out of the way, and then we will go into some of the accessories on this. So yeah, they are available. Clement, you just got to look around. You have He-Man. I have He-Man as well. He's cool. All right, so I'm going to take this off of here, put it here. Yeah, I like the fact that they're classifying a lot of this stuff with vehicles now in the line, and this is going to be one of the first ones that they do that with, where they started giving vehicles with figures. Obviously, they did the two Rams, the Tiger Force and the regular Ram, and then the Coil Cycle with Baroness. So I like the fact that they're doing vehicles with figures. It kind of adds a little bit more value to it and stuff like that. Whereas the Trouble Bubble was not a vehicle that came with a figure back in the day. I guess they were trying to keep certain price points or whatever. So they did the Trouble Bubble by itself. But I'm glad that they added the Televiper to this for this release, and they will in a future for another release as well. Let's see. Sean Jones, you bought an open one at the last toy show. Surprised how good the figure is. Yeah, it's actually very, very good. Very vintage inspired. And so this is the Trouble Bubble. Look at this thing. It is totally awesome. I love it. So there's a hinge on the canopy there, and it has a little latch there. It also has a little latch here, and this goes up and down. It also has those straps so you could strap them in. The vintage one did not have straps. That was a running joke with a lot of vehicles back in the day, that Cobra didn't spend money on straps. So there you go. So then let's put this here just for a minute. I want to get this out of the way first. So we have that cool package with the artwork from the outside with that Televiper, that grimace. Look at that grimace on that. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to put all this stuff inside here. There. I'm going to put this over here. out of the way there. Let's get back to this trouble bubble. All right. So there's that little scanner that's on the vintage one. There's a little bit of ventilation on the sides there and the front. Can't really see those vents. See those vents there? They're like a light gray, so it's hard to see. And then there's a little bit of a scanner with some tampos, computer scanner there on the front. On the sides, they have some really cool detail and computer type stuff in the sides of the arms on this. There's also some detail on the interiors. You can see that different color, the computers, and the different deco that they stuck on the interiors of that. Looks really, really cool from this point of view. There's a little vent, little teeny vent there with some deco on it. It says 15E3MQ on the side, that little tampo there. It says 15E3MQ. Then on the opposite side, there's also some detail and stuff like that. And tampos is one that says SB, and it says fuse and caution. Stuff down here. There's a tampo. Let's see if I can get a better. There you can kind of see that tampo back down there. And then that arm has all kinds of really cool detail on it. Looks really good, I must say. And then when you put the dome down, it kind of clicks in place. There, and there's a little computer readout tampo on the front of that. So when he's driving, he can kind of pay attention to what he's doing and stuff like that using that computer screen. And then when you look to the back, there's all kinds of cool detail back there on the back of this that is way better than I thought there was going to be on this. They really went to town. This is a 360 all detail and all kinds of stuff that's on this. Then the same with the bottom. Same with the bottom. There's detail and cool stuff on the bottom as well. They changed a little bit of the color deco. They added a little bit more black with the seating and the fins, the guidance fins and stuff. So there's a lot more deco in this. There's a lot more reds and blacks and than there was in the vintage one, in my opinion. So I'm going to stick that over there. I'm going to put the Televiper there. We're going to get into some of these accessories. You got He-Man with all of his accessories, Clement? That's cool. You got them at a cool price, too. Very good. So then we have the Cobra and G.I. Joe packaging there. And we got a second one. Okay. And then we have some empty boxes there. So we'll put that aside, out of the way. Let's see. Let's look at this. See what's in here. We have a missile launcher, or a thruster, I should say, not a missile launcher, like a thruster. So that's the thruster that goes on the back, like this. So let's put that on there. There's a little two dots, little dots there that go in there. So we're going to put that on there. Tighten that, make sure that looks good. So there's the same two tampos that are on the vintage one there. They have the tampo right there, the Cobra tampo, and it says P something 4SL7A, and that has the same tempo right there, same exact tempo. So there, and then there's all kinds of like computer jargon and stuff on the bottoms of that, and then on this side there's another Cobra tempo with that same, and then it has some Sky Strikers there in black as well. All right, so let's see what we have on the next one, next bag. Let's see, we have a little box, we'll put that over there. We have a missile. We have another missile. We have the Televiper backpack. Looks very vintage, except there's some deco on this one, whereas the vintage was all black. We have the second head, and this one is an African heritage ethnicity on that head. And then we have another head, and this is like a really computer looking, weird looking, robot looking head. We'll get into all these a little bit more detail in a minute. We got the tube that goes to the gun. We got a small bomb there. Then we got two dog bone attachments. Two dog bone attachments. Let's see. And then we have the weird looking scanner gun. All right. So let's see. That looks like everything that's in that package. So there you go. So we got everything out of there. Now we got this. Let's open this up and see what's in here. Flight helmet, Sean Jones. So that's the helmet he wears when he's in flight. Is that what you're saying? That weird one. And then we have this huge gun. So I think that's the gun that's going to go on the bottom of this, because there's a little bit of attachment, and that's going to go on there. So let's put all the parts that go on the trouble bubble on that first. Let's see. We have the gun that goes in here. Yep, snaps in and has the ability to adjust and move and go up and down with this as well. So if we go like that, that can go like that. So it's an adjustable gun similar to the vintage one. So that's kind of cool there. And it doesn't interfere with the legs, so the legs can sit down like that. So then we have the two dog bone pins. They go in the sides here where the missiles are going to go. So we're going to put those each in there. Make sure we get them in the right spot. Yeah, like that. See if we can make sure that it's snapped in properly. And then put this one on that side. Yeah. They seem a little loose to me. I don't know. They don't seem that tight. Did you have that problem, Sean Jones? Oh, yours was already put together, so you probably didn't have that issue. But I don't know. Maybe I don't have it in right. Let's see. I'm going to take that back out. I'm going to swap them out and put them on the opposite sides and see if maybe... Yeah, that fits a lot better on that one. So I switched them out a little bit and turned them around, and it looks like they're a lot tighter now than they were before. All right, so then we're going to put the missiles on there. So there's one missile there, and then there's the other missile. There. So you have both of those missiles on there, and you have everything on the trouble bubble. Look at how cool that is. Isn't that neat? I love little pods, little flying pod type things like this. This is so much fun. Woohoo! Whew. I love it. This is awesome. All right, so now we're gonna look at some of the Televiper himself and see what. Oh, we also have the bomb. Let me see. Where does this bomb go? I think the bomb might go on the bottom somewhere. Did they say where the bomb went? I always thought the bomb went like on the bottom. On the vintage one, I think it attaches someplace to the bottom. Maybe it's a lot bigger too. And as it showed in the packaging, the has this little compartment that opens up there. So you get a little bit of greeble in there and technical stuff inside that. I don't know. I can't get a good picture of that there. Can't get a good look at all that greeble that's inside that. But there it is. It has this little panel that pops off the bomb. And the bomb has like a 9 on it, has a little red deco. It has some words and caution and some other stuff on there. It has an arrow, has a lot of detail on this bomb, I must say. A lot of deco and tampos and stuff like that. So I'm curious where that goes. It's got to be someplace on the trouble bubble so they can drop it on people. But I don't really see a spot where that can go. I'll have to do some investigating to see where the bomb goes on here, but it's got to go on here somewhere. So there you go. So I'll put the bomb right there. So then we got the Televiper. So he's got his backpack. Always tricky trying to get the backpacks through the secondary into the peg. That's the trickiest part about these backpacks is they don't stay on very well because of that. Because they're trying to fight to go through two different things and they don't want to hold. So then I'm going to switch his put his gun in his hand to show that version, and then try to there. So he basically looks just like his vintage figure with that gun and backpack and everything on him. There, like that. Looks almost exactly like the vintage one. Very, very close. Let's see. Michael Gene Fleming. I'm pretty sure the bomb doesn't attach on the vintage one either. I've never been able to make mine fit, at least. It's one of the great mysteries of the toy line. Oh, okay. I always thought the bomb went underneath that of the vintage one, but I could be mistaken. I have it sitting inside, but let's see. Oh, I see. There's a little bit of a hole in the back of the bomb, and there's a peg hole that sits in the seat, and you put that little thing inside there. So when I got it, someone already had it in there. I just left it in there, and so that's where the bomb goes. Stores in there. So then you can like remotely make a remote thing on this and deliver this trouble bubble to a destination, and it'll explode that way, similar to the way that is. So let me look and see if there's something in the classified one where the bomb can attach to the interior here. Maybe it can go in the spot where the seat is. You can just sit it in there, possibly. I'm not sure, but it is what it is. So there's your vintage Televiper. Um, Neat. I'm going to have to try that. Yeah, I think it works really good. It's tight inside there, and so I'm guessing that's how you store it. But I don't see a place to store the little one. This little one that comes with the classified, other than maybe just sitting it in the seat and delivering it. It's like a payload. You're delivering the payload to wherever. There is a little doodad. You can put it on the vintage one, a little doodad in the back there. So maybe it's the same. Maybe the classified one has exact same setup where there's a little hole in it there, and maybe you put the thing that's in this to hold the seat in there. Possibly, I'm not entirely sure. I'm guessing, but there's a little bitty hole there. That's too loose. I think it's too loose. So I'm not sure if the this one goes in there or not. But there's a little hole in the bottom of that. So I was looking for something on the bottom of this that might have a little bit of hole that I could stick it on, but I don't see anything um, that looks like it would go in that little hole. I don't know. So for the time being, we'll just stick it inside here, like the vintage one, and we'll just have it sitting there nice and comfy, and it can deliver its payload that way. I guess I'm not entirely sure. So there. So I'm gonna try to switch the heads off. I'm gonna put this computer flight helmet on him and take his equipment off and put him in the trouble bubble. So there's one head off. There's one head on. I'm gonna take his equipment off. And I'm going to try to get him inside the trouble bubble. And we'll see how that looks. Take that bomb back out. And I like the fact that they're giving these seats, these straps now, because like I said earlier, they didn't have straps on a lot of the vehicles. The the Fang, the Trouble Bubble, a lot of these pod type things like this, and Joe's stuff seemed to, but Cobra ones they just didn't. They weren't able to take the money, the extra expense to protect their troops, so they didn't have straps and stuff. But this a lot of the classified ones they did give the straps on a lot of these, so I'm happy about that. Let's see. The rubbery bits of this harness don't maneuver very well, so it's hard to get the harness to go on. But the handles go on pretty good to the hands. I must say the handles fit right on there. So then we'll put that there like that. And so I have oops, one of my missiles fell off, so I'll put that back on. I have my Televiper with my Trouble Bubble in there. And it looks really, really cool, I must say. I love these type of things. I really love this stuff because as a kid, you can tell how playable this was, just flying around, running around, going after GI Joes and stuff like that. Because the cool thing about GI Joes back in the day, a lot of them had rocket packs. So there was a bunch of rocket packs in the back in the day, and you could really have this guy flying around, flying. As a kid would play with these things and shoot pew 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 pew. I'll get you, Cobra. I'll get you, Joe, and stuff like that. Like they did back in the day. They showed Stalker and Duke and Starduster and Flash and Zap and all those guys with rocket packs and stuff. This is awesome. I love this. It's just the right size too for like a hand. Like I got an adult hand, so it's the perfect size for me. And I think the vintage one was the perfect size for a kid's hand. I'm like a big kid now playing with this. Look at this. This is awesome. This is so cool. I love it. This is so much fun. Oh man, I think they did a fantastic job with this. This right now is one of my standout vehicles up until this point, but we're going to get into a lot more vehicles in the next, I don't know, 20 videos or so. There's a lot of vehicles and accessories and other really fun stuff. So that's why I've been really looking forward to getting up to this point to get into some of that cool stuff with these. This is totally awesome. Man, I hope you guys get one of these and you have the opportunity to play with this because this is really fun. Isn't that cool? Wow, I love it. I love this. This is so much fun. Oh man, I think they did a great job. It's got to be one of my standouts. I've been waiting to do this video, and I had a feeling it was going to be fun, but I didn't expect it was going to be this much fun. I love it. I love it a lot. I really do. We have a lot of accessories left over because obviously we have 2 or 3 different variations of the Televiper that we can use. We have different versions of the figure. We have obviously the flight version, so you can use that character in multiple different ways. So this is one of those things you could do definitely a troop building scenario because there's 3 variations of this troop. You can have him in the flight part, you can have him as the Caucasian or the African variations, and so I think that was really cool. I'm glad that we're going to be getting a vintage package Televiper down the road because I would like to switch some of the equipment out because I would like to keep mine in my trouble bubble, but then you would need some other Televipers to do other computer stuff with Cobra. So that means he's got a lot of accessories that we're going to have to store in his storage locker crate. But overall, I think, man, like I said, the color deco is a little bit muted on the blues. They have a lot more tampos, a lot more deco on the Trouble Ball and on the figure itself. They gave a lot more accessories like the alternate heads and things like that, which I love. The vehicle is perfect. It's like a perfect homage to the vintage one. Just slight added details where they gave you some more deco and showed more greeble in the computers and the engines and things like that. And with the bomb and stuff like that. I really love it. It's one of my favorite things so far. I think I'm going to be playing with this for quite a while. So there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. So yesterday, as of this video, we got the Hasbro Pulse stream and the Hasbro Pulse New York Comic Con panel that was at 11 a.m. on Friday, October 10th, and then at 12 o'clock was the Pulse stream, p.m. 12 o'clock p.m. on Friday the 10th. And so the panel was a fun panel. They did some tributes. There was some cool stuff with Transformers, cool stuff with Ghostbusters. There was a cool tribute for Ron Friedman, who, without Ron Friedman, he'd be one of those people like kind of like the Larry Hamas or the Ron Rudats, where this brand would not be what it is. He had a lot to do with the Sunbow animated series, and he worked on the Transformers Sunbow animated series and the GI Joe Sunbow animated series with the movie, the 1986 and 1987 Transformer and GI Joe respectively movies, and he was a huge impact on the GI Joe team. So then we got some views of all the cool new figures. They're going to be up for pre-order October 14th at 1 p.m. for premium members. That's Tuesday, and regular for 2 o'clock for regular members. And then we got some really cool new render reveals and name only reveals. So continuing along the theme of Cobra La, we got a deluxe Cobra La soldier, a trooper, or whatever you want to call it, with like 3 or 4 variations that you could build of that. He has 4 heads: armored head, flight head, 2 denizens heads, wings, all kinds of armor, all kinds of different equipment. So the render for the Cobra La trooper, soldier, or whatever you want to call it, denizen, is a deluxe, and there's tons and tons of stuff. And then the speculation of what we were going to get, and I totally forgot I was going to go get this, and I wanted to showcase it for this video. So now give me a second and I will go get this particular item, because we've been speculating as to what this Arctic vehicle was going to be, and we got a reveal for it. I want to show you the 4-inch version of it so I can go into a little bit more. Talk amongst yourselves for a second and I will be right back. All right, so here it is. I have it. Oh, so we got the reveal of the Arctic Hiss for Cobra Hiss vehicle, and they showed a figure on the floor after the fact, and it looks very much like this Hiss driver, but it's kind of like the Snow Serpent and the Hiss driver mixed into one. So that's pretty much the figure you're going to get, and this is the Hiss, the Arctic Hiss. Now, this isn't exactly the Arctic Hiss that we're going to be getting, because there's a lot more reds on that one. Like the canopy is red, but it does have the I think it said 748 on it. This one has 482 on it, but I think that other one had 748. And there is a little bit of red in the tread, the armor tread, the tread armor, I should say. There was the red missiles, and there's a lot, and then they had the bag on the side, and then they also had this cage on this side for equipment and stuff like that. So it's very similar to this, just a little bit more added deco reds and stuff like that. I'm going to stick this over there. But I wanted to showcase a variation of it to give you guys an idea of what we are going to be getting. Let me put my trouble bubble over here. Put my Televiper with it there. I'm going to move this Televiper over there with that trouble bubble there. And then I'm going to put this here. So it looks really good. The pictures that we show that Lenny showed on the floor after the fact looks really good. And so it's going to be basically a orderable situation where you go and you have 30 days to order something, and that's how many they make. So that's how many they're going to do. So whatever amount you want, you order, and that's what they're going to make. And it's going to be delivered that way. And it'll be probably sometime next Christmas time when we get that. So I think that's great. I think that's a really good opportunity for them to um, copy what the Star Wars and the Marvel Legends teams are doing, and that's good that they're doing that. And now we have something to go against our Snowcat, and have a bit of a more of a battle, a snow battle with our Arctic Hiss and our Snowcat and our Snow Serpents and our Arctic Bats and all our Joe Snow Arctic characters. Hopefully, we will be getting more as well. Maybe there's still room for that Arctic polar bear with a figure, and maybe we'll get other characters in the Arctic theme this year. That would be really cool as well. So I was blown away. I think it's going to be awesome. Of course, I'll be getting two, but it's going to be huge. If you can see how big this Striker is compared to this package, look at if you look at the comparison, it dwarfs. So that Hiss, we're gonna get a Hiss, Arctic Hiss in a package similar to this, but it'll be much bigger than this Striker behind me. So it's gonna be really incredible to see what they do with that packaging. It's gonna be unbelievable. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. So those are the two renders that we got, kind of renders and in hand versions of that Hiss, that model on the floor. And then we got, I believe, three name onlys, which one of them I was like, I have a feeling I made a bit of a speculatory comment a while ago when we were going over different Crimson Guards, when we were talking about the Python Crimson Guard. I said, it would be cool because we've been getting a lot of female troopers, and I was talking about during the female trooper 2-packs as well. I said, I would love to really get a Crimson Guard female, and we're getting a female Crimson Guard. So that was a really cool figure. And then we're going to get another OG-13 Zap. So we're going to get another Bazooka Trooper with Zap OG-13. We're two more down to completing the OG-13, and then we'll be finished with the original OG-13 to a certain extent. We won't have all the exact variations of those, but we'll have the character. So then who was the other one? Oh, Crazy Legs. That's another thing I had speculated. I said, well, after they start re-releasing these HasLabs, they get to this point where it's 3 years down. They're going to start putting out the figures from the HasLabs. One of the HasLabs was 3 years past, was the Dragonfly, and it came with Night Force, Crazy Legs, and Night Force Ripcord. So now we got a render for a Crazy Legs that's the vintage inspired Crazy Legs that looks exactly like what he should, with the red and the gray and everything like that. So I was very happy to see that. So that means my Ripcord is probably not that far away. So adding those three figures, we got a redeco of the Crazy Legs. We got a new figure with Zap, probably a lot of reuse there. And the Crimson Guard is probably a lot of reuse, but a redeco of that. So that's three fairly easy figures to make with redecos and reuse parts and so on. So those are your three name onlys. Those are your two renders reveals that we got. Overall, a really, really good showing for Hasbro. And then they did the Hall of Fame inductees. The 1983, the character that won, no shock there because it's who I voted for, Destro. The 1983 inductee into the G.I. Joe Hall of Fame, Destro, which was obvious. The 2025 inductee character and figure for 2025 was Crystal Ball. Awesome character, phenomenal figure. Great job that they did on that. I think I voted for Cobra Commander, Armor Cobra Commander, because I love that character. I love that version of that character. So I think that's what I voted on. So I did not win on that one. And then the person that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is a perfect added person to the Hall of Fame, G.I. Joe Hall of Fame, and that is Larry Hama, for all the work and all the added contributions to this lore and this brand that he's done over the decades. 40 years of G.I. Joe that he's added, and still is adding more. He's writing G.I. Joe comics to this day, and he's still involved in the community, still does conventions and signings and sketches and so on and so forth. And it makes sense that he's a Eisner Award winner and a Kirby Award winner, and so now he's a Hall of Famer as well, as he should be. And so I applaud that, Larry Hama. Great job, and thank you for all of the memories that you've given me over the decades as a comic reader and a toy collector, and so on and so forth. You've added so much. He added the Arasha Kage. That was not in the toys. That did not exist. He added that. He added lots of lore to these toys and these figures that we did not have. A lot of characters he added. A lot of ninja characters he added. And ancillary characters that he added to the comics as well that a lot of us love to this day, like Quinn, the Blind Master, Soft Master, Bongo the Balloon Bear, the Clown, Captain Min, the Fred series. There was no Fred series in the toys. That was all added by Larry Hama. So he did a really good job in adding a lot to the characters' continuities and histories and mythologies. So again, I applaud you for doing so, and you deserve it. All the accolades, Larry Hama. Thank you very much. So what else? So we got the Striker, and we got the MMS the other day, and I believe I have my Joe defense post with Steel Core on the way. And then I have some other interesting stuff. So I still plan on doing a video again tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be a classified review or what might just be a review of all my new stuff that I'm getting in, or it might be my Super 7 video, because I have a bunch of Super 7 stuff that's on the way and I'm trying to get everything into one video. It's going to end up being like 10 items overall that I'm going to cover in that video. So I want to make sure it's all together before I do that video. So that's coming. And then possibly we might be doing another Toy Talk live tomorrow at 2:00. We'll see how that goes. And keep the socials, checking the socials, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification. You guys all do a really good job in the chat here, keeping up with everything, and you're always contributing to the chat, which I love and I appreciate. So this is a really cool review of the Trouble Bubble with the Televiper. I absolutely love this. And imagine getting vehicles in comparison to this. That Striker is going to be absolutely huge, and a lot of the other vehicles and figures that we're going to get down the road. I can't wait to get into all those, because I'm just loving this Trouble Bubble. So this is a Cobra video, so we're going to have to go with Hail Cobra! We'll see you guys all in the next episode. Thank you again.